Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today, you're dealing with just me. Sorry, chat, you're stuck with me. It's just you and me today. So what do you want to talk about? Let's see. Why is my overlay? You notice that my overlay just gave up? Let's try reloading that. Let's see what happens. No, you just don't know what's going on. Well, that's weird. Is it? Did my whole stream just like give up? It's like, nah, you don't get to exist. Hold on. I'm going to try something. Whoa, what is that button? That was not the button I meant to push at all. So I think I made a mistake. I'm going to fix it on the fly. Everybody get ready. Actually, why don't we, everybody gets to watch me clean up my own mistakes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to my sanity instance, because what I think I did when I set this up is I think I screwed up and what? Get out of here. I used the wrong thing. Okay, log out. Let's try a different one. GitHub. There it is. Okay, so what I think I did is I think I didn't set myself as a guest. Let's see. Host, yep. Guest. Okay. Let's publish it. It was published. And now let's refresh this. Hey, there it is. All right, that's why you have tests, which I don't, which I should have. So hello everyone. How are you? Let's before we get back over here, let's talk for a bit. So how's everybody doing? What's going on? I see some folks in the chat. Let's see. I see yo damn, I love that username. Thesis, what's up? Hojo. Hey, what's up, Hojo? Jimena, Ola. Man, what's up, y'all? This is great. I'm happy to see y'all here. Thank you for hanging out with me on this Thursday. Short weeks are weird. I feel like the week just started, and also I feel like this week has been extremely long. Oh man, Maza Deeb making pancakes. Did you bring enough for everybody? Did you bring enough to share with the rest of the class? Hello from Germany. Hello, hello. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is I've been seeing some buzz coming up around Gatsby Functions. Oh, Joe, thank you for the sub. Thank you so much. And so Gatsby Functions look really exciting. So what it looks like, it's very similar to the way that like it works in Next, where you've got your, in Gatsby, you used file-based routing. So you've got your source folder, pages, and then you put in an index and an about page and a contact page. But now you can do a source folder and then an API folder, and that will give you the ability to write serverless functions. So, this is something like serverless functions. If you watch the show, I love serverless functions. They're one of my favorite things in the world. So as I saw that, I was like, ooh, this is great. I love serverless functions. Let's see what's going on in the Gatsby world. So started looking at the RFC. So actually, you know what? We don't need to just look at my mug. We can go over here and start looking at things. So there's an RFC for Gatsby Functions. I thought this was really exciting. So let me share a link. And this is from Sid Chatterjee, who's like, he's been on the show before. He's a wonderful dev, wonderful human. One of my, I know I say this about a lot of people, but it's true. One of my favorite people. I love Sid to death. But I think, this is very, very cool, and is going to enable people to do some pretty interesting stuff with functions. Actual JS is saying this will depend on the deployment environment if it has server-side functionality. So that's also interesting. So this is the part that I don't know, right? Is I only know the gist here. And what it looks like to me, you get the node HTTP. That's cool, right? So you can do core stuff. Gatsby serve, users can assume that functions will be hosted on the same domain. Yep, that makes sense. So you'll get an API like /API time if your function is called time.js. And so Gatsby Functions will only support Gatsby Cloud. So actually, I have good news. We started playing with this in Netlify, and we figured out how to get it to work. So let me share a short link because, you know, I work at a company and all those sorts of things. But yeah, so this is a link to this article here, and this is like how we can enable Gatsby Functions on Netlify. So this works today, and that's what we're going to try. Is we're going to see if we can get this to run. So what I want to do is I want to start with a basic site. And okay, so before we start, let's do a quick shout out. So I have a confession to make, chat. I screwed up today. So I had a last minute reschedule. And so we're still, like, the episode that was scheduled for today is still happening. Don't worry, it's all coming up. But when I rescheduled, did not let the captioner know that it was rescheduled and not canceled. So I don't have white coat here with me today. So I totally dropped the ball on that. That's on me. I am so sorry. I'm gonna have to rely on YouTube's auto captions this time. So if you're watching live, I'm really sorry that I don't have the live captions today. But I definitely, yeah, I screwed up on that. So on the site right now, you will see where the captioning should be, and this sad little box is a mark of my shame. Typically, we would have white coat captioning with us, and they are here through the generous support of our sponsors: Netlify, Fauna, Auth0, and Hasura, all kicking in to make this show more accessible to more people. And yeah, I'm really not feeling great about that. So I am super sorry that I didn't get it done. It will not happen again. So yeah, with that being said, we can head over and let's take a look at what we're going to do. So what I want to do is I want to set up Gatsby Functions. And I see, let's see, you ate some Mallorca. Isn't Mallorca a place? Like, I don't even know what that means. What is Mallorca? Is that a food item that I haven't tried? Because I want that. Let's see. Let's do this. Here's what I've done. I've set up. Yes, it's the island. You just ate Mallorca, the island. That seems very rude to the people who live there. Okay, so I have an empty folder that I've created here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a new Gatsby project. And I forget how this works because it's been a while since I built a Gatsby site. So let's go figure out how to get started with a Gatsby site. So I'm going to use the Gatsby framework. We can run npm init Gatsby. Let's do it. npm init Gatsby. And what would I like to call my Gatsby site? We're going to call this Gatsby Functions on Netlify. And I would like to put it in this folder. Let's see if it'll let me do that. What? Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, we'll go Gatsby Function on Netlify, and then I'll just have to move it. I don't think I need any data source, so I'm going to say no data source. I don't want to use any styling. I'm just going to do regular old CSS if we need it. And let's see. Responsive images. Probably want, like, what? Meta tags and MDX. Those are things I like. Let's do that. Oh, gotta go down to the done button. Okay. Shall we do this? We shall, Gatsby. A cold dish. Okay, so Mallorca. It's a cold dish. Cooked potatoes, carrots, raw tomatoes, pieces of ham. You're speaking my language. Can I explain like M5 what Gatsby is? Yes, I can. So Gatsby is a React-based meta framework. And what a meta framework is when you use one framework to build another framework. So you're using React and then you're adding more conventions on top of it to make it do more things. And the underlying goal of Gatsby is to make it faster to build content. So it's very much geared toward building websites. You have a build step, and during that build step, you are going to be able to set up pages through the source pages folder. And in that source pages folder, you can create index, about, contact, and it routes as if those were HTML pages. So you would go to slash is home, that'll be the index page, slash about goes to about.js, slash contact goes to contact.js, and so on and so forth. And you can also use data from a third party, like you could load your blog from Markdown or from Contentful or Sanity, and those get loaded into Gatsby's data layer, which you can then use to generate pages. So not every page in a Gatsby site needs to be a file. It can also be generated from data. And the benefit of this is that it lets you as a developer pull in data from a lot of different sources and build websites in a pretty quick way. This addition of functions is something that I'm kind of excited about because it's theoretically gonna let us do some pretty cool stuff here. So here's what I'm gonna do though, is so I've got my Gatsby functions on Netlify inside Gatsby functions on Netlify. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move up a directory. I'm gonna move Gatsby functions on Netlify to a temp, like I'm just renaming it to temp. And then I'm going to move temp Gatsby functions on Netlify to Gatsby functions on Netlify. Is it gonna let me do that? It did. Then if I go into Gatsby functions on Netlify, there's our thing. Okay, and I did this because I want this this Git shortcut to work for me. That's why I didn't just leave it as a nested folder. So what I can do in here then is we already ran an npm install. So let me open this thing up and we can poke around in the internals of a Gatsby site and try to get a little more information on what's going on. So a Gatsby site runs in a few modes. We've got develop mode, we've got serve mode, and we've got build. So serve is mostly just like if you're testing it, because typically after you build, you would be deploying to like a CDN or something, not to a server. But you could if you wanted to, and this command would let you do it. Develop is for while we're developing. So I'm gonna do that. Let's do npm run start. And let's see what we get out of the box. I haven't tried this before, so I don't know what the default template looks like. Let's see how it goes. So right now what it's doing is it's pulling out the data, and then we get this localhost 8000. So let me grab this, head over here. Thank you so much for the sub. Ben out here gifting subs again. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Boop crew. Remember, you now have access to the Boop emote, which if you use it and use it non-sparingly, you can bury the screen in boops. That is always an opportunity for you. So welcome, everyone. Please abuse your new power. Let's look at, let's see, I'm zoomed way in, so let's zoom out a bit. And what I would like to do now is just peek around at this. So we've got edit, source pages, index, if we want to change things. And then there's a link to a bunch of stuff that we are not going to look at today, probably. We'll see. So what I'm going to do is go into this source pages, and now I've got index. And in here, we've got a bunch of styles. I'm probably going to delete all of that. And then we have our links. Okay. And then we have our homepage. So what I can do here is I can say, what up, chat? And I save. And how long does it take to refresh? There it goes. All right, pretty dang quick. You can see it happen really fast. So then I'm gonna get rid of this this list of links, because we know how to Google. We'll go Google things if we need to. And then I'm gonna create like a let's play with Gatsby functions on Netlify. All right, so we're not gonna do too much with pages today. What I wanna do instead is I wanna play with this API layer. So I'm curious how this is gonna work. I'm gonna create an API function and I'm gonna call it hello. So let's do our default kind of hello world, right? So let's go look at how the Gatsby function stuff works. And I wanna find them where? Gatsby functions. And that's gonna take us to, here's a beta. That looks like an opt-in. That's not what we're looking for. Let's go try the next link. Was it this one? Here's the docs. Okay. So let's get started. Let's write our first hello world here. So I've created an API. I called it hello, not hello world. And let's let's see what we can do with this one little function. So I have source API hello. I see you burying me in boops. I see Cassidy has arrived. You know, I don't even have to look at the chat. I can just see if I'm buried. Bye. Bye, everyone. Let's see how much of this code is going to show up above the fold here. We don't need to see me, but we need to see the code. So export default function handler, and then my handler is going to get a request and a response. And what happens inside? I can do a response.status is 200, and then I can send JSON. Okay, so let's do it. We're going to res.status 200 and JSON, and we'll send back what up chat. Okay, so theoretically speaking, we just wrote our first function. I don't know if Gatsby hot reloads that, so let's try it. I'm gonna go to /API hello. It does not hot reload it, so let's start it again. Oops. Okay, should probably go clean up all that stuff that we're not using anymore, but I'll get to that. Oh, do I need to like install a beta version of Gatsby to make this work? Great question, me. I should have looked this up. Let's find out. How can we try it now? Solid, yeah, solid work, Chad. I see you. Cassidy is exhausted. Oh, turn on functions with the field. Oh, did I just like skip that whole part? Get started. Hello world. Functions, adding the functions flag in your Gatsby config. Where's my, they don't have an example. Well, that's not gonna work. Is it in the config here somewhere? Let's scroll for, no. Okay, let's try this link. Maybe, oh, okay, here we go. Flags, functions, true. Okay, I can do this. I know how this one works. Let's open up Gatsby config. All right, so I'll just drop in the flags. Functions true. Let's stop and restart again because I just changed everything. We almost burned the CPU. Yeah, the fans turned up all the way. Which this is a pretty serious computer that you're heating up over here. Hey, look at that! We got Gatsby Functions running locally. So this is exciting. I'm really excited about this, just kind of in general, because it is a very cool pattern. Like you can do a lot of really interesting stuff with this, and we've talked a lot about throughout the show about what you can do with serverless functions, what it unlocks. So we can talk more about that. And if you have questions, please let me know, because as we are doing more and more, you know, it's an AMA today. We've got whatever. Like I'm gonna work on this stuff, and I want to get through some Gatsby function stuff. But also, I am perfectly happy to answer questions about this and other things. So if you've got questions, fire away. Let's chat. See, now I have a dumpster fire eye patch. Yar. All right, let's build some more things here. So I'm going to, in here, let's go look at what else happens in our initial setups. So we can do a few, oh, these are kind of cool. So we're going to be able to do dynamic routes. That's fun. TypeScript, that's cool. Query and body, yup. So yeah, data from a contact form if we want to do that. We can check for the methods. Good. So all the things that I would expect to exist from a serverless function, right? We can get the body, we can do the query, probably get the headers. How are these different from your average Netlify function? So the functionally speaking, they're not that different. So you'll be able to accomplish the same outcomes with Netlify functions and Gatsby functions. What is different is that this is like, if you're a Gatsby developer, this lets you put everything inside of the Gatsby environment. You're able to use their file-based routing, and you get this kind of like it's going to go to API and then it'll go to hello. With Netlify, you can do this, but you add a redirect for it, right? So we would have the .netlify/function/hello, and then you would say, oh, I want everything that hits /API to get redirected to .netlify/functions, and that would make it /API. So there's a redirect involved. It looks like Gatsby's handling that part for you, and they're using a different function signature. This is more of like an express style, like middleware pattern where you get the request and the response. With Netlify, you get the event, which has the body and the headers and the query params and everything, and then you get context. So you return the response instead of using res.send. So it's the same generally, but the signature is different, if that makes sense. But yeah, so it would also be provided by running Netlify dev. You are correct that we could absolutely run this by doing Netlify dev, and we should be able to combine them, which would be kind of interesting. So let's see how that works. I'm going to just run Netlify dev. Let's see what happens. So I think by default nothing will change. It's gonna run Gatsby develop, right? That's what it should do. And when we go back out here to wait until bundle finish, there we go. Can reload. Hey, what up, chat? Don't open another one. Or I guess this is the old one anyways. Yeah, so here's what we want. And then let's go to /API hello. There we go. What up, chat? So it's still doing what we want. It's working as the Gatsby way. And then let's set some Netlify functions up. So if I go Netlify functions, what we'll do like boop.js, right? And then this one, this is the Netlify way. And so actually, you know what we can do now? We can use ES modules with Netlify. I have to set a config flag for it, but we're using ES build form now, and I'm really excited about it. So let's look at this.
Oh, so we would need to add code.
Need to add code, that's true. So let's add the new bundler. And I want to give this a shot because what's really exciting about it is it's going to let us use this format for our functions, which I vastly prefer. I always accidentally write it anyways, so being able to do it on purpose and not have everything break will it'll just shortcut a few things that make my life hard. So let's do that, and then what I can do is I can export async function handler. Let's make this a little bit bigger. And inside we get an event and we get some context. I'm not going to use the context today. That's if you're doing like user identity, or if you need to mess with some more advanced stuff. Typically speaking, I rarely, unless I'm dealing with users, find myself doing much with the context. So we're going to return, and I'm not even using the event either. Let's go real simple. So I'm going to return a status code of 200, right? And so if we look between these two, here's our status 200. And then I want to send a body. And instead of having to say what kind of body it is, I just send out any string. So I'm going to JSON stringify, and we'll just say boop and true. So this is kind of like this is shorthand for running like a JSON stringify. So same general outcome, but different formats for doing it. So now that I've added a function, let me go ahead and restart, and we'll see a couple things change. One is you can see that Netlify started a function server because it found the Netlify functions. And because it's using ES build, it went nice and fast for us, which makes me very happy. And so let's see what happens. It should pop open the same tab too. Oh, this is a new feature that no one actually talked about. like, or I guess I haven't talked about, but I'm really excited about. We added quietly in the CLI, when you run Netlify dev now, it doesn't continually open new windows. It opens, let me make this bigger so we can actually see the URL. It opens the same tab now. So here we go. We've got Netlify functions, boop, and there's our boop. But so I want these to match. So let's add a redirect in here so that we can do that. Let me get my Netlify toml open, and I'm going to add a redirects key. And this is toml, so I'm just adding a redirect to an array of redirects. And we'll go from API splat to Netlify functions splat, and we will send a status of 200. And the reason I could force this, but that would break our API function. So instead, if this exists, we're going to respect it. We'll let it stay. Otherwise, we'll fall back to the splat. So by doing that, I think I need to reload now that I've changed the redirects. I don't, it just works. Look, everyone. Hey, what happened? That's not true. Okay, so this might actually be, I wonder if this is dev, or I wonder if this is going to be something that we have to file a bug for, because that will be interesting. They should compose, but I guess they don't. So let's do first matching rule, and we'll just kind of short circuit these. And now that'll make it work. That's clearly like, this is not what we want, but it'll let us do what we're trying to do today. Because I want this to continue working, and we do need to make sure that functions if you have custom functions that aren't in Gatsby. But here's the other thing. If you're using Gatsby functions, is it really beneficial to switch over to using a Netlify function? Like, sometimes it can be, but these ultimately are going to end up running as Netlify functions anyway, so it's kind of fine. But yeah, that's kind of what we're after here. So I think so toml actually is short for Tom's obvious markup language. That is what toml stands for. And the joke that I always make is, who is it obvious to? Tom? Come on. No, but that's Tom Preston Warner made that. He is also one of the creators of Redwood and founder of GitHub. So toml is, if you're looking for someone to question, that's the one, that's the person. That's why I say own. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay. toml is fine. It is not my favorite by any means, but I don't know that there's anything that's that much better. Like, this kind of markup is just hard no matter what. Like JSON, you can't get comments. toml, you get comments, but you also have to deal with whatever this is. And then there's YAML. And all of them are bad, and it's fine. It's, boy, what we should probably do is make a fourth spec. Yeah, JSON 5, there you go. Yeah, YAML can do everything, but no one likes to deal with it because you can do everything, and that makes it extraordinarily complicated and confusing. But if you use any of these as like simple Tom only mark. All right, let's stop picking on Tom. But yeah, I do think like this type of markup is just hard. Doing configuration is never fun. And I guess the alternative is that we have to do it in a database, which is, it's got its own set of drawbacks. So, all things considered, I'm okay with it. I've accepted it. I've moved past anger into acceptance is where I'm at. So let's look a little bit at how we can get this thing running on Netlify itself. So I'm just going to follow the instructions here. So again, here's the blog post. If you want to follow along with this blog post, you can get right in. Tony says I'm in In denial. You're kind of right. But so yeah, Pi, I could use an underscore redirects file, but I don't think it would change the outcome here, which is that for whatever reason this isn't showing up as a file that exists. And I think that's technically true because I think that Gatsby is doing a redirect as well. So the Netlify redirects are taking over. So I think there's something that I'm going to have to do with Gatsby to get it to cooperate. I imagine, and this is something that is important. We have a very, very good set of engineers, Lindsay Levine, Matt Kane, Luke Olaf, who work on making the ecosystem more pleasant to use on Netlify. They're responsible for the essential Nexjs plugin, which is a way to like run all of the things. Let's see, I should probably... Well, this is a good explainer of what it does. So here's a link to the essential Nexjs plugin. And so this allows you to use like the server-side rendering. It allows you to do the fallback stuff, like all the fancy features of Next work on Netlify because of the work of Lindsay Levine and since they've joined, Matt Kane and Luke Olaf. You may remember Lindsay because she's the one who taught me how to play Minecraft on the show. Can find that episode. That was a hoot. It's where this is the one where you get to watch me accidentally, and like I mean truly accidentally, commit murder. Yeah, I miss that dog. But yeah, so you know, excellent people working on very complicated stuff here. But yeah, so what they're doing with the Gatsby plugin is the same kind of thing. So once this comes out of beta, like I said, this is in beta today, so you can go and try this, and you'll be able to try this out. And then once we've gotten all the bugs worked out, and we're confident that it's not going to break anything, for new Gatsby sites, this will auto install. So you'll be able to just use Gatsby. It'll just work. You'll get all the features with no changes on your part. And that's a big goal for us at Netlify. Is like every framework in the ecosystem should work well. And it should work without you, the developer, having to learn how the frameworks work under the hood, and without necessarily having to like put each framework on framework specific hosting. You should be able to just use the one host and let your stuff just work, right? So let's try this. Let's see how it goes. I'll be honest, I haven't tried this. I'm like low key nervous that I'm gonna find all the bugs in public right now, but we're gonna try it. So let me grab this as well. This is the config. So this goes right in our netlify.toml. I'm gonna stick this down here. And as you can see from the formatting here, the indents don't matter. This is whose line is it anyway? Toml is whose line is it anyway? Everything's made up and the indents don't matter. Now, once we have this changed, Netlify will rebuild your site with full Gatsby Functions support. Okay, let's try this. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if I need to do anything before we take this thing live. I don't think we do. We've got our package.json. That's got all the bits we need. Happy. We're all happy. Everybody happy? Let's do it. So I'm going to git add everything. So we've got our functions. Oh, this is interesting. Do you see that? This is what esbuild did. It turned it into, oh shoot, git reset. I shouldn't have used this .netlify. So look at that though. So this is what esbuild did, is it turned it into a transpiled module, right? Okay, so I need to echo Netlify into git ignore, right? And then when I git add all, we only get the source function, not the bundled function. Okay, so that makes me happy. We're good. We've got nothing that we don't want, everything we do want. Let's git commit, say work in progress, playing with Gatsby functions on Netlify. Ship it. Let's create a repo. So I'm going to GitHub repo create, and I want this to live on the learn with JSON org, and we'll call it Gatsby functions on Netlify. It's going to be public. Yes. All right, so now that I've created that, I can git push upstream. That's so that I don't have to keep typing origin main. And now that is up on the interweb. So when I hit git push, it'll go up to that without me having to do more. So let's use this little, this is a great little hack that I think, Chris Biscardi, did you teach me this one? I love this hack. If you customize your browser prompt or your terminal prompt to show things like this, because here's where I am in my system. I'm at GitHub and then the org and then the repo name. And then I have a terminal prompt that says, if I'm in the GitHub folder, format it like this. And now I can like command click. It's so cool. I love it. It's such a good tip. Yes, Chris Biscardi. Chris, do y'all follow Chris Biscardi? If you don't follow Chris Biscardi, you should, because he's just like a fountain of excellent information about all sorts of stuff. So go make that happen. Go get in on the Party Corgi train. And if you're not part of the Party Corgi network, you should also do that. So get into the Party Corgi network. That's where a whole bunch of folks hang out.
You dirty hackers.
But yeah, so there's a whole bunch of good stuff going on. A lot of people very support. This is like my favorite place on the internet. It's like a warm campfire. Everybody's welcome. You can all hang out and share the stuff you're excited about, share the stuff you're working on, and share the stuff you're learning. It's a great place to be. But we just created a repo. So here's our repo, right? We've got everything up there. We're good to go. Let's take it to the internet. So let's netlify init is the command I wanted. So I'm using the Netlify CLI for this. And we're going to create and configure a new site. Put it on my own org. Let's call it Gatsby Functions on Netlify. Oh wait, it's going to be .netlify.app. So Gatsby Functions on .netlify.app. Haha, clever. And we'll use Gatsby build as our command. That's good. Public is the directory. Functions go there. Okay. So then let's go look at what happens, because I haven't tried this yet, right? So we're going to go see what happens in the site when we bundle this thing. So let's watch it. All right, so we're installing our npm modules. And Gatsby's a big framework, so this might take a minute. Pie in the chat. Gatsby Functions of Netlify on Netlify for Phil. Yes, exactly that. Nikki, which one are you asking? Open in the Explorer? If you're asking about the terminal, it's actually a hyperlink. It turns into a hyperlink that opens up the GitHub repo on GitHub in my browser, which is really, really handy. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on here. So we've fetched everything. We've got the plugin Gatsby on pre-build. We don't have a Gatsby cache, but we did. It's saying that we should add Gatsby redirects. Okay, we're not going to use those today, so we won't worry about that. It's doing the functions. It's doing a build. Gatsby plugin Netlify. It packages the functions on post build, stored the Gatsby cache. 2 new functions. So here's the Gatsby stuff. This should work. So it's gone, it's live. Let's find out what happened. Let's try it. Okay, so first, API hello. Did it do the thing? No, what happened? Cannot find function hello. Let's see. Doesn't have API hello. So it's possible that I broke this with my functions bundling, so I might need to take that out and try. Wait, did I just break everything? Why don't any of my redirects work? API boop? You exist. I know you do. I think I need to... So I have a theory that I'm getting ahead of myself here. So let's get rid of the redirect, because I think that is going to cause us pain. And instead, I'm also wondering if I need to get rid of the ES build functions. Let's go simple. Let's stop trying to do 10 things at once. And let's start with just just the facts, man. We're gonna go with Netlify.toml only having the plugin, and we're gonna skip Netlify functions and go with just Gatsby functions. Let's make sure that this part works before I start getting clever. So let's, can I quickly explain the wiring up of a Gatsby function on the Netlify side? Ooh, I don't know. Let's try. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a build locally, and let's see what comes out the other side, and then we can take a look. What generally speaking, like in the broadest possible strokes, what we're doing is the essential Gatsby plugin, the same as the essential Next plugin, will look for API routes in Gatsby or Next. And if it finds them, it checks for the right configuration to be present. It adjusts some things in the Netlify build envelope, and then it moves all the required dependencies to operate those functions into the Netlify functions directory. That's why we get that Gatsby output. So here's our gatsby.zip. So if I pop this one open, well, let me do that. I got to open it in here, don't I? Let's open in Finder. And that came over here. So I'll pop this open. All right, now let's look at how this got bundled. So in here, we've got gatsby.js, which pulls out the source. And then in the source, we have Netlify functions, hello. Okay, so I think what happened was the ES build stuff and potentially my reroutes caused chaos. So so let's take a look in here. So here's the transpiled hello.js. Here is the Gatsby function that sets up a Netlify style handler and then pulls in the function that we want to handle and creates the, so it pulls in the context to figure out where the functions are, and then it creates a response object, creates a request object, and sends those things through. So that's kind of how this all works, is it basically turns the signature of a Netlify function into the signature of a Gatsby function, calls it, and then returns the default there. So let's deploy this and see what happens. So we're gonna git commit everything and say trying a simplified deploy. Let's push, get back out. And so what we should see now is, because we cached last time, and this might change because I changed the function setting, it'll pull in a cache, but we should see that this builds faster as well. So here we go, we're pulling in the node version. All right, so this is an important part. It found a Gatsby cache. So that means that we don't have to rebuild the entire Gatsby cache. We're just gonna rebuild the bits that Gatsby needs that it can't do from cache. So looking at, let's see, this one is 13 seconds. Let's go look at the other one. This one took how long? 18. So it didn't cut off a ton of time, but it cut off 5 seconds between builds. But because we were able to cache other things as well, it cut the build time in half. So that is, you know, soup to nuts. That's half the time of between a fresh build and a cached build. And that's why keeping these caches around is important. So we've done that. We get around. We've got our function. Here's the function we need to upload. It's going to be Gatsby.js. Okay, so that's live. And so what I should be able to do now is API hello. What? Why? Why are you like this? Let me see what is going on. Let's try the root route and see if maybe I'm just doing something silly. API hello. There it is. Oh no, did it work? And I was just at the wrong domain and redirects didn't work there. Crap. Okay, well, no, this is good. This is good news. So now that we know that this works, right? So here's a Gatsby function working on Netlify, right? Great, perfect. It works, it's supported, you can do anything. There's a test suite down here that you can look at for like full support. Here's, where'd it go? Here's the demo. So here's a full demo of the Netlify Gatsby plugin running all sorts of things. So you can do like case sensitive URLs, you can get cookies, you can do cross origin, environment environment variables, you can do error handling, JSON, TypeScript, parsing the post, redirects. You can do white space and URLs. That's terrible, but that's good that it's handled. Accented characters, non-Latin characters. All this stuff is working, right? And so this is pretty exciting that this works. And so then, what else? Subpages, catch-alls, overrides, name parameters, form parsing. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can do here. It's really, really powerful stuff. It's really exciting that it works the way that it does. So here's what I want to do next. Let's try one of these. Let's try one of these like new formats. So let's do like a schedule search.js, because here's what I want to do. I have on the Learn with Jason site, I have an API for my schedule. And so you can see the upcoming episodes in my schedule here. And what I want to do is I want to hit this API, but then parse it for upcoming episodes. So in here somewhere, let's look at the schedule. I think we've got functions. So we can search by functions, it looks like. Yeah, if we search titles by functions, we'll be able to get a filtered list of what's coming. So let's try that. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to need to import a fetch library, which I'm going to have to start by installing. So npm install node fetch. And then I can import fetch from node fetch. And then I'm just going to collapse this. So then we're going to be able to export default function. What was it called? Handler. Hello. Handler. And we get a rec and a res. Okay. So let's get handler with a rec and a res. And then down here, we're going to do some stuff. We'll res status, 200. And then we'll JSON whatever our result is. Is soup to nuts that's probably a very American thing, isn't it? It's like the meal starts with soup and it ends with nuts, so that's the saying. It's like the whole shebang, beginning to end. I'm like responding to a description of a colloquialism by using another one. Whole shebang. Okay, so we've got in our request. How does Gatsby say to handle that? Let's look at these. We get the request. And then we should be able to get rec body age. Now that's not what I'm on. I'm interested in the ID. Where is it getting the ID? Does it not use that ID? Environment variables, HTTP methods, TypeScript. Am I missing this? Environment variables, forms, routing, param routes. That's what I'm looking for. Param routes. So we'll be able to rec.params.id. Okay. So I want the search term from rec.params.search because we're pulling search here. And then from here, I want to get, we're going to get all of the schedule equals await fetch. And then we'll just do the response. I'm kind of cheating here because we probably ought to do some error checking at that point, but it's fine. We know this is going to work and this doesn't have to be production ready. So theoretically what I should be doing is checking if that response is giving us back what we want before I try to decode it. But for this function, if it explodes, it explodes. That's okay. And then to do this part, I need to do a search through our schedule. So I'm going to log search and schedule, and let's see what comes out. And for now, we'll just log like an empty object so that it doesn't explode. So let's try that. It is not running, so let's Netlify dev. A full course dinner served during the 1800s. Oh, this is a whole The whole thing. All right, so wait until bundle finished. You done? You good? There you go. All right, see, it opened the same tab instead of a new one, which I'm very happy about. So let's get schedule, and we'll say functions. Cannot find module. What? Netlify. Functions, Gatsby, function, wait, hold on. You trying to build stuff? What are you doing? Cannot find module. Yeah, but why are you doing that? You shouldn't be doing that at all. It is running Netlify Gatsby. Okay, so it shouldn't be doing that. So let me remove the .netlify and let's run that again. Because it should just be running from the it should just be running from the Gatsby folder is what we really want. For development at least. So let's see if it does that. And if it doesn't, we'll use regular Gatsby develop. It doesn't. It doesn't like it. Does that mean I have to do like a build first, or what's the story here? Netlify functions, Gatsby. No, I don't want that though. Let's get rid of Netlify functions. Okay. So we're finding the rough edges. Like I said, this is early access, right? So this is where if you want to try this, we're not auto installing it. We're not even putting this in the plugin UI because we want y'all to take a look and let us know where it doesn't do what you want, where it doesn't do what you expect, so that we can fix it. There's not a page or a function. Should be API/schedule/search. Okay, so does this one still work? No, so now I've broken it entirely, which means I'm gonna run Gatsby develop instead. So npm run start. I think when I did something with my Netlify toml that's causing the CLI to like misread something, and I'm not quite sure what it is. So let's head back to this layer. There it is. Schedule search, or wait, functions. Okay, so this is fine. It failed on a different thing. So it unexpected reserved word await. Okay, that's fair. That's on me. I should have known better. Does that work? Can I just do that? Oops. Apparently I can just do that. Perfect. All right, so I get back my schedule and now I have this array. And so what I'm gonna do, because I always forget how to do this otherwise, is I'm going to just open up the console here and let's get schedule. And then what I wanna do is, what do you mean invalid token? Boo. Okay. What if I do it as console dir schedule? I feel like that's going to be worse. Are you usable? No, you're not usable. Crap. All right, so I guess, well, that's annoying because all I really want is the title, right? So let's, this is terrible. This is terrible. Don't look at what I'm about to do. There we go. This is the part that I care about. But that's not quite right either because I need to be able to, it's getting worse. It's getting worse, everyone. Oops, need to make that into an actual function. That's probably a good idea. There's an actual function. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Now we can actually loop, right? So let's try that again. Var schedule equals titles. And then what I want to do is schedule.filter, and I want any episode that has a title that contains functions, but that needs to be not case sensitive, right? So let's start by making a regular expression, because that should be your first tool whenever you think of these types of problems. But we're going to do it anyways because we can. And so I'm going to say that our search term we know is going to be functions, and our flags is just case insensitive. And then what I want to do is return episode.match regex. No. Matches? Nope. It's not because of that. It's because I need to get the title. So now match is what I wanted. And when we run that, we get 2. Okay, good. Now let's try something else. I think Netlify, and we get 1. What was another one in there? I think we were talking about sleuth, and we get back sleuth. Okay, so this is a workable filter, right? So I can just take this filter out and move it into my function. And instead of doing all of this, let's do const filtered equals schedule. And then instead of string, we will filter by search term. And maybe I guess I should default this to empty, right? So let's destructure and give it an empty string just in case. Functions. Oh, I forgot to return it. So that's what went wrong. Let's try that again. Ayo, we got it. All right, so then what happens if I just hit schedule? Ooh, not quite. Okay, so I would need some kind of a fallback here, but if we search for something else, sleuth, we get back sleuth. Yeah, okay, so that's doing what we want, right? We've got a variable kind of function with parameters. So my design is maybe not great because it's not handling like just the default schedule fallback, but that's okay. Yes, I am all alone today. It's just me. We're playing with Gatsby Functions, which are in early beta. So we've been playing with them in Netlify. We figured out how to make them work, and we're trying that out today. So we're seeing what we can get done. So let's deploy this. Git add everything. Git commit. We'll say feature. Add schedule search. And then we can push. All right, and let's go take a look at this deploy while it happens. Here we go. And this one will, again, it should be much faster because it's cached. So let's see, it should go about 30-ish seconds. That's true, Tony. So Chad, as long as you're here, I'm never alone. Nikki, don't you dare start that in my chat. But yes, yeah, Nikki, that's the whole point. The thing that I get so excited about with these serverless functions is like, I mean, check this out. With us spending, how long we've been on now? Maybe an hour. An hour of messing around, telling jokes, screwing around with functions, like learning this thing from scratch. Because of the way that serverless functions operate and because of the things that Netlify puts in place, we were able to not only like learn this, but get it built and deployed and into production inside of an hour, which I find just so dang cool. So, oh, if I can spell it right, whoops. Sleuth or functions, right? So go try this out, chat. Like, how cool is that? But I find this like very exciting. I think it's really, really cool that we can get something up and running so quickly that we can use, here we go. We fire off Gatsby functions, we get them running, and they just work. Like we don't have to think about what this means from a, like, do I have to do special stuff? Do I have to change the way Gatsby works? Do I need to mess with my Gatsby config? You don't. You put in this flag for functions, and then you get into your netlify.toml. And this is only for the beta. Like when we get out of the early preview here and this is more confident, you won't even have to do this part. It'll just turn on and you'll be able to, on new sites only. So be aware of that. We'll never change your old sites. We won't risk breaking backward compatibility, right? So when you deploy a site, if it doesn't have a plugin today, it won't have a plugin tomorrow. You would have to manually add it. So do keep that in mind when you start looking for these. But for the early preview part, you can add this thing right in your netlify.toml, and then you just write some functions, right? These little buddies, look at them go. And so this is something that I'm finding like really exciting and really, really empowering, is that we can go and make these setups and do these sorts of things so dang quickly. But now that we've got this running, I want to test that hypothesis, because I think I might have screwed up by hitting the wrong URL early instead of actually having a problem. So I want to try to bring back this Netlify functions boop that we wrote. And I'm going to also, actually, you know what? Before I do this, let me delete this one. I want to see if we can use ESBuild for this. So let's try the ESBuild part. And I'm going to go back to this one. Yeah. So I just need to, no, this is not the one I meant. This is the one that I meant. I'm going to get this ESBuild set up in my functions, and I'm going to drop it right here. Okay, so let's see what happens. So if I run like a git diff here, we can see all we changed is just to add that piece of config. So I'm going to git commit everything and say test ESBuild with essential Gatsby plugin. We'll push. And let's see what happens. It should theoretically just work. I hope. That would be neat if it just worked. Like we're working hard on making that ESBuild stuff very, very fast. And it really is like unbelievably quick when you start using the ESBuild stuff. It changes from seconds, or even in really large sites, minutes, down to like just a couple of seconds. In some cases, it's like sub-second, 900 milliseconds or whatever the thing gets done. Yeah, 245 milliseconds to bundle those Gatsby functions. And I know it's just 2 functions, but that is quick. That is very quick. So let's try this again. All right, so theoretically speaking, nothing should change. No, okay, so we need to figure out that. But let's see if it works for the other one. No, the ESBuild is fighting with our Gatsby setup, so we'll figure that one out. But hey, that's what we're here for today, is to find the bugs. So let's get that out of here, and then I want to try adding in our Netlify functions boop.
Why are you like this?
And we're going to export handler. And that'll be an async function. And that's going to return status code of 200 and a body of boop. And that's a function, right? This is my favorite part. Like I love that this, if you need to just send back a piece of data, just do it. It's done. You don't have to think about anything. It just works. So let's get that deployed. Actually, this is a feature, isn't it? Okay, so we'll push that. And then let this thing build. I love how quick these builds are. It's really nice to get that cache in place. Okay, we're zooming. We're zooming along. Toast functions. Ooh, Chris, toast func. Don't tease me. Don't you tease me now. Let's see. We've got site was deployed. Everything is good. Let's make sure this works. Here's our API hello. Here is schedule functions. And then let's try the Netlify one. We're going to go .netlify functions boop. There you go. So you can use them together. I have a theory that they are not going to work if I try to do a redirect here, unless I change the API. Like if I did a, actually, let's show how we could do it. Let's think about ways that we could make this work, right? We could do a redirect, and we'll say instead of from all of API, let's go from like API v1 or so, you know, like this isn't great. I don't love that. But then you can go to Netlify functions splat, and we'll use a status code of 200. That means that I can get commit all, and we'll say feature and redirect, or proxy is the better word for what we're doing. We're proxy the Netlify functions. Git push. Yeah, so Tony, the reason I'm using a different API endpoint is just so that, or I guess that's what you were suggesting. But yeah, this gives us like a namespace so that we know only to redirect these ones and not to redirect the whole API subroute. Any thoughts on the DX since I was last at Gatsby? I mean, it's like, I like that Gatsby onboarding. I thought that was cool. I think I've always loved the file-based routing. I think that's a great thing that, you know, Gatsby and Next and Nuxt and that whole class of meta frameworks do. I have mixed feelings about the rec-res model. I feel like it puts a lot of pressure on folks to learn things. But I guess, you know, no matter what way you do it, you're going to end up having to learn some mental model. So it is what it is. But so let's try this thing out. Let's go API v1. Don't you lie to me. Am I doing this wrong? Hold on. Oh my goodness. Y'all, am I typoing? I'm going to be so upset. So the redirects file is, I probably could have just done that. But for the Netlify config, no. I'm doing this right. From old path to new path. Shadowing, this is what I wanted. Right? So this is what I'm trying to do. So what have I done? The splat, did I typo? Splat. What am I doing wrong here? What have I done? What is my mistake? API/v1. That'll go to Netlify functions splat. So if I go to star and it goes boop. Have I done something wrong? Hold on. Did this not deploy? Says it deployed. Did my redirects deploy? Two redirect rules processed. Oh, I know what this is. Okay. I know exactly what this is. I know what I've done wrong. It does have to be the redirects folder. So that needs to be static. Right? What are you doing? New folder. Static, and then inside static, I'm going to create redirects. Okay, and so this is my general confusion around things. But so check this out. So what's happening here is that we are using Gatsby functions to create a redirects file, and it gets processed in a different order. So there's the redirects and then there's the toml. And if the Gatsby underscore redirects is using a catch-all, which it would be one of these, it'll never make it to my rules because it does first match. So what I need to do is put it in here, which will let me functions splat, and we'll give it a 200. And that will solve this problem. So this is just me forgetting, and that's a thing that we need to fix. It's a thing that we will fix, but it at least means that things aren't broken. I'm just holding them wrong, which is always good news. So let's do use underscore redirects, and we push. And this should get us where we want to go. But yeah, what Chris is saying, the rec-res is the express model, which is why Vercel chose it, which is why Gatsby chose it, and the other option is like the AWS Lambda style. So you'll typically see serverless functions in one of those two flavors is what I've seen. Yes, so Nikki, this is kind of confusing, but so the way that the Gatsby, the essential plugins work is they create a redirect like this. And they're redirecting everything to a Gatsby function. And if we use netlify.toml, it ends up below this rule, and Netlify processes the first rule that it matches. So it will hit, or it doesn't force. So it would hit this rule and then say, I have a match for that. Let me try the Gatsby function. And then that wouldn't have anything because we're looking in this function. So to short circuit that, we need to put it here, because the way that the plugins work is they'll take a redirects file and actually put the rules at the bottom of it. So this is giving us, this means that instead of the rule being here, it'll be here. And then this one will hit first and then fall back to this one. So it's just, it's an ordering issue that we will fix in the netlify.toml, but for now it's here. Okay, so this should be, yep, that should be fixed, which means boop. And then if we go back to our hello, still works. Hey, combination. I'm at the Netlify functions. I'm at the Gatsby functions. I'm at the combination Netlify Gatsby functions. That is great news, everyone.
Behold, my bucket.
So here we go. We did it. We managed to make Netlify functions and Gatsby functions work. As I said, we've got the whole like test suite going here. So if you really want to see how this works, let me grab this link one more time for y'all so you can see it. Short URL. Get that thing. Get in there. Yes, Amberly, I am understanding youth culture. Hello, fellow youths. When are you getting Jay Langsdorff TikToks? You are probably never getting TikToks from me. I did though. I watched a video to teach me how to dance. I didn't get very far. I didn't last long. If we can get Phil to dance, we do need to get Phil to dance. That's what I really want. But yes, so this, I mean, I'm just thrilled to bits that worked the way that it did. So we found, we see this is still early, right? So we found some rough edges, some things that we want to clean up, but dang it if that's not just cool. So if you're not trying to do anything clever, if you just use Gatsby functions on a Gatsby site as designed, the essential Gatsby plugin will work. And it'll work for the full suite of Gatsby function stuff. You can do anything that's listed in the test suite, which I am extremely excited about. So you don't need to dance. Your code does that for you. Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, so this is all really good stuff. Like I'm just so pumped about being able to do these sorts of things. I'm excited to see more of the landscape starting to embrace serverless functions in general. I think it's super exciting. It makes me really, really happy. No dancing code. But so, I think like what I find really promising about this is that, front end is getting more and more complicated. And as developers, we are being asked when we work on the front end to do more and more complex tasks. And previously, 5 years ago, that would mean that we had to reach for a node server and some back-end logic. And if you reach for a node server, now you have to figure out how to deploy that node server. And unless you're going to put every change to your code through a third-party team, like a back-end team, a DevOps team, etc., then you're kind of stuck as a front-end developer learning how to manage these things yourself, which takes you out of your expertise. It takes you out of the thing that you study. I want to be a front-end developer. I'm good at that. That's the thing that I practice. I am not particularly good at deploying Kubernetes or configuring Docker containers, or even knowing if I've done a good job of deploying Kubernetes or Docker containers. And so from my standpoint, what serverless has done is it's allowed us to do the parts that we needed to do, the things that would need to be on a node server, without having to learn all the boilerplate and the ops and the release management that allows us to deploy that kind of logic. So it feels like a superpower. It feels like it lets us start to do all of these really advanced workflows. We can set up environment variables. We can use protected keys without exposing them to the client. We can access data. We can do databases. We can do third-party services. We can process things. We can do image transformation, asset, uploads, and all this amazing stuff, right? That is really, really, really empowering as a developer. And as we saw today, we've been going for hour 17 minutes. We were able to build all of this stuff and get it deployed. And we deployed to production how many times in an hour? 6, 7 times? 7, 8 times? 8, 6, 7. Gee, I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 production deployments inside of an hour, all because of the way that this workflow works. What it allows us as developers to do is get stuff out there. I actually just wrote a whole blog post about this that I should share. Where is it? Yeah, here. It was on CSS Tricks. I am very excited about this one. I think this was a really fun post. Sorry about the extra UTM stuff that happened there. But yeah, so this is something that I find really exciting. Is if you're a front end developer, I think you can start doing extremely powerful things without having to become a full stack developer, in the sense of, I can work at any layer of the stack. I can handle backend, I can handle infrastructure, I can handle front ends. No, let's just handle front ends and this little bit of the middle tier that we need to do the super powerful things on our front ends. So I'm hoping that y'all are seeing this, and as I do more and more of these serverless things, you're trying it out yourself. Chat, actually tell me, chat, we've got a few minutes left. Who here is trying serverless functions? Like, who's using them? Who's excited about them? Because I use them for everything now. Like, I think I don't know that I've deployed anything that doesn't have a serverless function in the last year and a half. Yeah, Brad. Yeah, of course. Chris Biscardi, I know is what? How many courses you got on serverless now, Chris? Tony, all about the serverless. Linda, yes. Ben, Ola, good. Nick, wait, yep. Nikki, oh yeah, you're using the DPR stuff. That's also really, really exciting. Chris, 3 courses on serverless, exactly. We were talking about Chris earlier. Remember, Chris is a non-stop fountain of information. Go check out those courses. He's on Egghead. Here, let's look at the courses. Chris has an unbelievable amount of courses. Open Graph. So this one's got some serverless in it. What else? We've got serverless Jamstack to-do app, serverless on AWS Lambda and Dynamo. Yeah, all sorts of good stuff in here that you can go and learn. Make sure you go and do such things. Yeah, also Rust. Not talking about Rust today, but we got some Rust stuff coming up. I think I'm going to talk to, who is it? John Breen is going to come on and we're going to build a Rust CLI together, which I'm excited about. But yeah, so, you know, I'm excited to see y'all. Like, yeah, Charlie, very excited. Yes, please go give it a shot. I'm so excited. Thesis, I hope you get a chance to play with them a little bit. They're really fun, really empowering. Jacob, I know you're using them. But oof, yeah, yep. Cannot wait to see what y'all do with your serverless functions. And with that, I think this might be a good time to start setting up or closing down shop here. So let's take a look. Remember, usually when I'm not completely dropping the ball here, we have live captioning. So I screwed up scheduling and didn't have a live captioner today, but usually somebody would be here from White Coat Captioning. White Coat Captioning is excellent. They live caption a ton of events in the tech space. You will see them all over the place. That is made possible through the generous support of our sponsors, Netlify, Fauna, Auth0, and Hasura, all of whom are kicking in to make the show more accessible to more people, which means a lot to me. You can always figure out what's coming up next on the show by hitting up the schedule. We've got some really good stuff coming next week. Is it next? Wow, man, this went so fast. Next week, we're going to talk to Don Brown about sleuth.io, about measuring deployments. This is some pretty interesting stuff. I'm really excited about it. And then I think Tamaj actually just rescheduled this one. So this one's still happening, but I think it's going to happen in July, which means I'm going to find a new guest for next Thursday, or we're going to come up with something to do, just you and me, chat. If you've got somebody you want to see on here who you think has calendar availability to do something in less than 1 week's notice, please put us in contact and let's make it happen. Then we're going to be talking to, Ben Myers. We're going to talk to Sarah Diane. I'm really excited about this one. We're going to do JavaScript autocomplete. Very, very, very fun. What up, y'all? Let's do some great things together. Make sure you go to the schedule page, click that add on Google Calendar button. It's gonna be a good time. This will add it to your Google Calendar. Doesn't do any alerts or anything unless you want them, but it will show you what time the show starts and give you a quick link to join. Whew. All right, make sure you follow me on Twitch as well to get those notifications. What else? Usually I'm asking people to do stuff, like share their stuff, but I'm not. I'm me. I don't know. Go follow me on Twitter or something. And with that, thank you all so much for hanging out. Let's go find somebody to raid. We'll hang out next time. Thanks, chat.